Hey, it's Melina, and you're watching Girl in the Verse, the video podcast, where we explore the exciting world of decentralized technology and the people driving its innovation. What the F is an NFT, and why do they matter? What about decentralization and Web3 or cryptocurrency? Is it all a scam, or is it here to stay? If you've ever asked yourself these questions, know that you are not alone. I myself have asked a lot of questions, anywhere between owning a digital wallet, minting NFTs, dealing with gas fees, and a lot more. Whether you're a seasoned crypto veteran or just getting started on your journey into the wild west of Web3, this podcast is for you. My name is Melina. I am the founder of Girl in the Verse. My job really is to have conversations with founders and builders and artists and businesses and a lot more people in this space who have entered Web3, talk about their journey and why all of them believe that this is the future. This is it, friends. It's right now, and we are living it. And I'm so honored to be here, to have this stage with you, to ask the right questions. Okay, without further ado, let's dive right in. Welcome to the Girl in the Verse video podcast. Today, I'm joined by Brittany, who is the head of business development for Harpie, the company that created the first on-chain firewall preventing hacks, scams, and theft at ETH Denver in 2022. Brittany, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Melina.
It's difficult to sort of explain what it is we do in this space. So obviously right here, I'm like, grade blockchain security solutions. Like, what does this all mean? So I want to dive straight into it. What is Harpie and what are we trying to accomplish at Harpie?
So at Harpie, our ultimate goal is a secure blockchain experience. We started on that journey with a firewall product that, like you mentioned, was launched at ETH Denver and was on stage. You know, the founder was on stage with Vitalik, and they got to have a great dynamic conversation. So it was a really great catalyst for us to be in the security space. And from there, we have developed like a suite of enterprise grade security products. So we can work with everybody from the direct consumer that wants to protect their own wallet, set up a firewall for it, have two-factor authorization, all the way up to enterprise-grade solutions or video game ecosystems that want to provide that protection, but may or may not want to have their customer actually have to take any actions to be protected.
Wow. So what does that mean concretely, right? Like I'm here saying, okay, security, we've heard a lot of hack scams happening in the space lately. How can Harpie help us become more secure when we are doing these sort of transactions?
You know, our ideal situation is to be one of your layers of security. So when we are using crypto, you know, it can be really overwhelming. There's hardware wallets, there's software wallets, there's hot wallets, cold wallets, and there's all these different things. And then with each of those, there's different vulnerabilities you have. And that's one of the biggest blockers we have to people getting in the space, right? Is, wow, I can buy my own crypto, but I'm scared to custody it. But I was also told I have to custody it because if it's on an exchange, it's not safe. So our goal is to be one of the layers of security that somebody has. So whether they set that up themselves or whether someone sets it up for them. Specifically where we usually come in, well, I guess we've got two main places we would come in. The first is when that transaction's being authorized to give you like a two-factor authorization, like, hey, this is the transaction. Do you want it to go through? And then the other layer that we're able to add, and this is kind of the fun one or the funny one, but also, you know, our favorite because where we really start our biggest protection layer is after the fact. So you've already been drained, which means you have a wallet. Somehow the seed phrase has been compromised or you signed a transaction that was malicious and things are leaving your wallet. If you have Harpie set up, that's when our product comes in to actually save the day. So you see a lot of these big influencers, they're losing all their assets. It's challenging position being in my role because I'm looking at it from the vision of, oh man, I wish you had Harpie because this wouldn't have happened to you. When those things are actually leaving your wallet, and that's when we put it somewhere else.
And that's the thing, Brittany, is that, ever since I started my journey in the space, my biggest worry was always, it's like once you realize that any sort of transaction you do, you are also responsible. There's no like 1-800 number, hey, come and help me. I actually did something wrong, right? And I think people still don't understand that part, is that once you send it away, it's gone forever.
And that's one of the things, we're trying to get us closer to that credit card like security. When you swipe a credit card, like you're pretty confident that credit card transaction is gonna be fine, because either it's going to go through or it might get stopped and you'll get a text message saying, hey, did you mean for this transaction to be initiated? And we have that security blanket. And we're really not going to have mass adoption in crypto until we can provide that security blanket. Ultimately, I think it's something that we need to build into blockchain and the infrastructure in general. And that's, one of the really great places, I guess, about being at Harpie is that ideally, if this gets built into chain, that's good for us. Our only vision is security for blockchain, and we'll continue to innovate and create solutions where there are gaps. And that's what we've been doing, is as we've grown our user base and we get more people using Harpie, we hear more about what they need. That's one of the ways we actually developed a solution to like the monkey drainer attacks people are seeing on OpenSea. And that was direct customer feedback. We had our firewall product and we were working with people and they're like, hey, does it protect us against this? Because we're seeing all our friends get drained. And we're like, oh, no, but we can do that. So we built a solution that, now prevents you from actually getting subject to the monkey drainer attack, which is actually that happens through Seaport on OpenSea. So previously there wasn't a solution for that. And, we've gotten some nice coverage on times we've been able to protect people. I wish it was more story worthy when you were setting up the protection, so we didn't have to dwell on when people actually are stolen from. But, that's the future, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, the hardest part right now is making security sexy. Like in the weirdest thing, but it's always when we see someone in the space losing everything. And then we all, I keep saying this repeatedly. We always see someone get something, hacked or stolen or drained. And then we tell ourselves, okay, today's the day I'm going to set up Ledger. Today's the day I'm going to set up another wallet. Today's the day. And then 6 months later, you didn't do it yet, right? Like that happens all the time.
All the time. And, even every time I see it, I'm like, okay, every time I see an attack, I'm going to add another layer. And, it's easier said than done. It just is. So we need to find a way to make security sexy, like you said, because it's like, unless we have this SVU style engagement, like, oh my gosh, something happened. Let's get to the bottom of the crime. Let's diagnose it for the next 48 hours. Once all that fun wears off, the drama's gone and people do forget about security until the next time it happens. And then again, sometimes we're so caught up finding out what happened, how it happened, how does everyone feel about what happened, that maybe we don't actually get to setting up our own security after that fact. So I love when people like you show interest in security when it's not the day of a big hack, or, there's some really great like onboarding communities and founders that have started to reach out and say, hey, can we do this ahead? Can we set up a security chat with Harpie ahead of time so you can teach us how to do this and we don't have to come and sweep it up? And I think those kinds of founders are going to be the ones that create communities that we feel secure in. And those are the spaces we'll see more of onboarding because it's a secure environment.
Something that I found very interesting, speaking of hacks that, that we're following right now in the space, one of the latest hacks was Kevin Rose, right? Proof Moonbirds Oddities founder. Kevin Rose lost about $2 million worth of assets. And now Harpie's claiming, hey, we could have helped you save some of that. So Brittany, explain to us all of it. There you go. Explain how Harpie could have actually helped Kevin Rose.
So, like I said, I really do hate dwelling on people's, misfortunes as a use case for what we do. But it's the sad fact. If Kevin had known what Harpie was or known that it was an opportunity, what he or anyone else could do is go to our website and you connect your wallet. even though we are highly audited, we have massively respectable investors, I always recommend do your own research, triangulate your information, make sure you type the URL. So they go to www.harpie.io, it's HARPIE, and they'd connect their wallet. And then once they connect their wallet, they're able to see the tokens that are available within that wallet. And what you do is you set up first a little bit about your activities. It's really easy. It's checkboxes, and we pre-check it all for you. Do you do DeFi? Do you trade NFTs? So that you can start to build a trusted wallet network. It takes about 2 seconds. Then the next step you're going to do is say, do you have any friends? Do you have a partner that usually send assets to? Do things move out of your wallet to another address that you want us to know is safe? Yes, you can type it in. No, you move right on. And then the third, you see your tokens right there, protected, not protected. And what you're going to do is you're going to click on a collection. You're going to assign a transaction for that collection. It is an approval for all transactions. So there are times you sign approval for all transactions. Always good to go to a tool that will allow you to revoke some of those protections on a regular basis, but obviously Harpie's one you'd want to keep there. And what happens is that you set that transaction to approve us should any asset be leaving your wallet. So whether that's an NFT or a token, when the asset's leaving your wallet, if it's not going to one of those pre-registered addresses, instead, we're going to use, it's sort of like we use the hacker technology on the hackers. So we do something called front running, which means we pay a higher gas fee to get that transaction done. And we check very, very fast. We actually flooded the early test net when we were developing our products because we were checking so fast. So we check for those transactions. And if something's leaving your wallet and it's not going to where it's supposed to, we stop and we send it to a vault. And so this is a really important thing. This isn't a vault that Harpie has custody of. This is a vault that was set up when you set up your Harpie. This vault was built, there's a smart contract, and you have a vault. It's non-custodial. So you have, we're not custodial of it. So you can get your assets out of that vault. And that's the only time that we actually capture revenue. So because we're a venture-backed company, we're on a growth model. We're trying to develop technologies and onboard people. So we're not buying for revenue. So what we do is basically we are a free platform. You can set it up. And the only time that we capture any fees is if we've actually saved you from theft. So should Kevin have had Harpie set up and all of those assets were on their way out, I think there were like squiggles and all sorts of things.
So many good stuff, yeah.
They all would have just gotten siloed into this vault. And when all of that stops, you can go into the vault. I mean, you can go while it's happening too, and you can go claim those assets right out of the vault. So it's pretty much that easy. It's something you set up for free. It's about 3 clicks. So you check how you use crypto. Do you have any wallets that are safe and you want to let us know? And what do you want to protect? You set those 3 things up, and the idea is you never really need to think about it again unless you get stolen from. You don't have to pay a monthly subscription. Like, we don't believe that you should have to pay for safety on chain. It just doesn't make sense to us. Our ultimate model would be if all the different protocols and platforms have Harpie used natively within them, and that we'd be working directly with the protocols. Similar to how you see the Polygon working towards cheaper transactions and things like that. Our goal is just a safer infrastructure. And we'd rather not charge consumers for that. We'd rather work at the enterprise level.
Every time I do a transaction or I'm going and, claim something because I actually have the NFT, but I'm going and claim an accessory or whatever it is, I freak out, Brittany. I literally freak out because I'm like, this could be the moment. And so knowing that there is this sort of technology and protection, I mean, wow, for me, it sounds like a no-brainer. So how do we get more people knowing about Harpie? Because again, my God, Kevin Rose, right? It's like knowing that he could have saved his stuff. Oh my God.
Poor man is going to be the textbook example.
Yeah.
Like I said, and unfortunately it was the 5th or 4th in the last 3 weeks preceding that. And it's also, you're saying exactly, we hold our breath when we do transactions for security reasons, but also for error reasons. So something funny happened to me a couple nights ago. My husband was transferring me an NFT, and it was a wallet that we didn't have Harpie set on because it wasn't like really a valuable NFT. But but I typed in my ETH address wrong.
No, that is like, I'm scared.
I typed in my ETH address wrong, and I was like, oh man, if I had Harpie set up, I would still have that NFT. Like, luckily it wasn't anything important. It wasn't anything valuable. It was like a token gated community thing. But like, I was just like, oh, so like even malicious things or not, just to know that things aren't going to leave your wallet to the wrong place is also just a breath of fresh air. Because yeah, whoever owns blockchainmom.eth has my asset because I forgot to type I'm blockchainmom.eth. So yeah, other random use cases for security and asset protection. But you were asking, where would people find out more about Harpie and how do we get people to find out more about Harpie? We're working on getting more educational content out there. Right now, we really do focus on having the easiest, most digestible information on Twitter and right on our website where you can scroll through. We've updated our webpage just recently, so you can really learn about what we do right from that first scroll through. You can see who backs us. You can see that we're audited. We really like to share that information. Just PSA again, please, if you're using a security protocol, make sure they've invested in an audit. It's not malicious intention that I'm worried about. It's just we're all humans, even the best developers, like audits exist for a reason. So security audits are important. But I really hope that Harpie ultimately gets out to the masses through the community leaders. Community managers definitely engage with us the most closely. I think, you do need founder engagement to really drive something forward, or if it's a larger team, up in that business development area. And I think that's where we really see it. I think my goal would be Harpie that information gets passed to others, not necessarily by us yelling with a megaphone, but by us enabling communities and companies to protect their customers and working with them to get that message out. And like I said, we are also working really closely with companies to get the consumer protection without them even necessarily knowing it is Harpie. So we're working with hardware wallets that are using our API to look for malicious transactions and things like that as well.
I want to get to some interesting stuff here. Are you able to show us, maybe give us like a step-by-step on how Harpie works?
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to show you what Harpie looks like if you're logging in with a wallet that you've never logged in with before. So this is our landing page. If you want to learn a little bit more about us, you can scroll right down and learn a little bit more about what we do, what we've achieved so far, and how we do it. And then you would go ahead and click Enter App here and connect a wallet. And then here you would connect your wallet and you'd get started. I'm going to move over to my other screen here where I have a wallet connected. We're going to use my daughter's wallet and secure her Miss O Cool Girls NFT.
I love it.
Which was already secured by Harpie. Actually, I had to revoke protection for this demo. So secure all the things. So I'm going to connect my wallet with MetaMask. And there's her wallet. So we're going to connect. And we're going to create a network. So we can select apps. And so this is what I was talking about here, where you would set things up. So if you use DeFi and swaps, you could just go ahead here, click it and balloon everything. If you want to get extra secure and you only use one website, you can always narrow it down as well by viewing all apps. So I'm going to say I use DeFi, NFT, and not bridges at the moment. I can add friends to my trusted network. And this is giving me a review so I can see which contracts I have approved. Mm-hmm. Basically from where we're going to go and create dashboard where it says I agree. And then you end up here. So this is where I can go through my setup steps and also see my assets. So you can see that I have protected a token on this wallet before, but we are going to go down and we are going to protect the Miss O Cool Girl. You can see that I have one from that collection. But this transaction is going to approve all the NFTs in that collection. So if I acquire more in that collection, I do not need to go protect those tokens. So you do have to pay a small transaction fee to sign the contract. And MetaMask is letting you know that you are signing an approval for all transaction. We're going to see a lot more of these warnings come up in wallets, and it's a really good thing. And some of them actually use Harpie's API for exactly that. So it is going to now put this transaction on chain that I have approval for all to, Harpie has approval for all to protect these assets. And then once it is on chain and the transaction's confirmed, we can actually go up to the test area and test that the assets are going to be safe. So when I go here to set up, so before we do that, you can see we have our nice little green check mark now. You can see that Miss So Cool Girl is protected.
Lovely.
So, and actually, you know what's pretty fun? Would you like me to try and send it to you? We can get it stuck in a Harpie vault. Okay, awesome.
Sure, we can do that.
Actually, no, I can send it to my other wallet. Here we go.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Whichever wallet.
All right. So I'm going to... Oh, you know what? I don't think I can do it for my browser wallet. All right. We'll do the boring normal one. Okay. So to check that the token's protected, we can do a go to test. And this isn't going to test that token specifically. What we're actually going to do is mint some test tokens and then show that that works. So we're going to mint some faucet tokens. This transaction will give you 1,000 faucet tokens. And this is actually something that you can do in your Harpie account too. So you can test that it's working. If you are comfortable reading transactions on chain, you can actually go to Etherscan and watch it all happen. So right now we are minting the faucet tokens that we are going to attempt to have stolen. And so we can steal those anywhere. So I'm going to protect the faucet token. And I'm going to protect that the same thing with a transaction like I did for my token. And just so you know, you don't have to go through this test. You don't have to pay the transaction fees. But if you do want to feel ensured that there is protection in your wallet and watch it actually happen on chain, this is a fun way to do it. So now we're going to simulate an attack by sending tokens to, oh, we used to have Vitalik on there. Should have like a little dancing hamster during this time. All right, so we're going to begin live test. And then, so I'm going to, in this test, transfer these tokens to an unauthorized address. And if this goes well, they will not indeed transfer to that address. If that's going to fail, the tokens will no longer be in my wallet because they will have been moved to the Harpie vault. Well, to the vault set up by Harpie. We updated this whole, actually I'm really happy. So, oh, yay! So now the token has been protected. So we went and we minted a token. We protected those assets with Harpie, and then we simulated an attack. And so we can see what has happened. It has been recovered and set up. Like I said, you can go right onto Etherscan and see all of this happen, but now you can go back to your wallet. You'll also get these notifications. So when something's been put into your vault, this is exactly what would happen. And part of the test allows you to go through that process so you know how you'd get your things out. So you'll see an unauthorized transaction was blocked. We'll let you know all about it. If you're confused and you need help, you can always reach out to us. We're highly available. But I'd like to retrieve my assets. And then I would go ahead and withdraw. And I'm going to confirm. Typically, if you were actually stolen from, you would want to put a different wallet address into this section because you wouldn't want to redeposit tokens into a compromised wallet.
For sure.
But I'm going to actually copy this wallet and redeposit them here. So confirm. I was watching a really funny video on Instagram yesterday. It was a guy from Chuck E. Cheese showing how, I kid you not, this floppy disk is labeled 2023, about how they remember Chuck E. Cheese, the automated mouses?
Yeah.
They're still run by floppy disks today. But he was putting it in and he was showing how long it used to take for a floppy disk to load all the files on the floppy disk. And I always think about that now when I watch transactions go through. Just think about in 10 years from now when transactions are rapid and, seemingly instantaneous, how we'll think about how we used to sit and wait 12 seconds for the transaction to go through.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because sometimes too now when I only notice that now that our 12 seconds of a blockchain transaction is still faster than a banking transaction.
100%. That is a really good point. Yep.
Sometimes I send a transfer and I'm like, why isn't my bank confirming that it's been sent or that the money's been gone? And then it takes like forever. And then I'm like, oh, okay. Because it's the banking system.
Yeah, I did it this morning, actually. I went into my bank and I had to do the bill pay option to send a paper check. So it'll take a day or two before that leaves my account. And then it'll take 2 or 3 days to mail it. And they'll get the mail check and then they will be paid. It's like, wow, on blockchain, that would have been like, 12 or 13 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, yeah, now if you look on my wallet, you can see that we have reacquired those faucet tokens. And they are now safely back in our account and protected. So, depending on how you chop that demo up, it may look really long or really short, but the idea is when you sign on to Harpie, there's basically 3 things you do. So you are setting it up, you are letting us know how you use crypto, you're letting us know which wallets are safe and what tokens you want to protect. And then if you want, you can go through the test process, and that requires a couple transactions, but it'll allow you to really understand how Harpie works and how you might get your assets out should anything be recovered. And then that's it. So it's set it and forget it. It's like a slow cooker meal. Best part about it is it's done. So unless you acquire more assets or anything like that you need to go protect, which you can go do, Harpie just sits in the background and is there when you need it in that emergency. You can use a setup notifications button. There's a little orange button over to the left side, and that would allow you to get email notifications. So if you would like to be notified, because not everybody checks their wallet every day, like you could be drained and not know it for some time. So that would allow you to actually have an email hit your inbox the second things are moving in your wallet.
This was great. I love the tutorial there, Brittany. Thank you so much. Now, I wanted to just go back to the importance of keeping your assets safe, because obviously, again, we keep mentioning these bigger names, people getting hacked and drained, and how, talking about security is not safe. But, when you first entered this space, what was it like for you? And now you're basically working for Harpie, talking about this, doing this work, because there is a need for this, right? There's a need for this.
Oh, there's an intense need for it. My journey into crypto has been interesting and quite drawn out, where I had, Bitcoin awareness at the very, very beginning, really. I had acquired a Bitcoin back in the day of like mailed seed phrases, but that is all gone and non-acquirable. I have one of those fun missing Bitcoin stories. But I think, a lot of us do.
I was like cheering you, and then I was like, Simon.
No. But I largely stayed, arm's length away from the industry for some time because, my career was taking off in consumer electronics and these integration methods that were a lot stronger. They had history to them. But I think like all crypto curious people, my eyes never really strayed too far from watching what was going on. And, watching my friends in the space, I watched rugs, I watched people get stolen from, things have changed a lot for the better. Your seed phrase isn't getting mailed to you anymore in an email. But it's not perfect, it's still a string of words. You can etch it in steel and you can have a ledger and you can do all these things, but security is so important. And not just security, but accessible security. It shouldn't require, basic dev skills to set up or understand what you're doing when you're securing your tokens. And even myself, I pride myself in being able to speak layman and layman, because that's the kind of language I need with these kinds of things. So I've translated all this technical knowledge that I get, and I translate it into words that not only can I digest, but I can share to people that don't know a lot about this. And even then, it's you've been drinking the Kool-Aid for so long. I try and catch myself. You'll notice through this talk, I've said asset so many times. You have all these buzzwords, and it really security in the space. We need to break it down even further. And you'll see that on Harpie. If you join Harpie today, you'll see every iteration that we put out becomes even more clear, even more available. You should not have to be a crypto native or even comfortable in crypto to set up Harpie or any security solution. I can't say that enough. If you're using Harpie, that means you love our product. And I'm so happy to hear that. And that's wonderful. And if you're not, that's okay too. Just please use security. and use more than one version of security, because it's so important that we have multiple layers and that we feel safe, because that's the longevity of our space. And we need to feel safe so that we can tell others that are coming into the space that it is safe and that they can transact comfortably here in the same way they can in Web 2 when they're swiping their credit card.
How can we get in touch with you? What's the best way? Where can we follow you? Why don't you tell us a little about how we can connect with you and Harpie, of course?
Yeah, definitely. So Harpie, it's Harpie. So on Twitter, we're at Harpie.io. Our website is harpie.io. We just made an Instagram account, but there is a big scammer out there with a fake account with a lot of followers. So please be careful on Instagram. We are tampering that out right now.
Yeah.
And then personally, my Twitter space, I go by I'm Blockchain Mom. On Instagram, I'm Blockchain Mom.
All the links will be down below. Brittany and I would love to hear from you. How can we stay safe and secure? What are the steps you are taking to ensure your NFTs and cryptos are secure? I want you to drop them in the comments below. As always, if you dig this episode, I want you to reach out to me in the DMs. We all know that is where the juiciest conversations are happening. I love it when you write to me telling me what piece of content you love the most this week. I want you to drop it in my DMs. You can follow me everywhere on social media at Girl in the Verse. Of course, I want you to hit the like and follow right here on YouTube, and I will see you next time. Bye.